The glare of the global spotlight has always been a complicated space for those who walk within its boundaries, especially when the transition from a highly traditional royal framework to the unscripted freedom of the American media landscape takes place before the eyes of millions. In the modern era of instant communication and relentless public scrutiny, every public appearance becomes a calculated narrative choice, a moment where personal identity and public relations intersect in the most dramatic fashion. For months, the global audience had been processing the seismic waves left behind by a single television broadcast that reshaped the contemporary perception of the British monarchy, leaving an array of unanswered questions and heightened expectations regarding what the next move would be for a couple that had successfully decoupled themselves from centuries of tradition. The anticipation surrounding their next public communication had reached a fever pitch, as commentators and casual observers alike wondered how they would continue to leverage their unprecedented global platform while navigating the delicate balance of personal privacy and massive public influence. When a public figure chooses to step back into the frame after a prolonged period of strategic silence, the venue, the tone, and the underlying message are scrutinized with intense microscopic precision, revealing the complex machinery behind modern celebrity and global advocacy. This return to the public eye was not just an ordinary broadcast event, but a carefully choreographed statement designed to signal a new chapter of independent influence, far removed from the formal constraints of palace walls. To fully understand the weight of this moment and to ensure you do not miss the deep dive into how these media strategies unfold across the global stage, consider subscribing to the channel now, as we begin to unravel the layers of a story that continues to captivate audiences worldwide. The setting for this reemergence was a massive global broadcast event, a stage designed to unite a fractured world through the dual powers of entertainment and heavy-hitting advocacy, presenting an environment where cultural influence could be converted into tangible global action. As the digital cameras began to roll and the satellite feeds synchronized across multiple continents, the atmosphere was thick with a sense of collective purpose. Yet, the undercurrent of media fascination remained firmly fixed on the individuals who had come to symbolize the ultimate modern cross-continental narrative. The transition from the structured, often rigid protocols of traditional royal duties to the dynamic, high-impact world of American philanthropic broadcasting represents a profound shift in how public figures communicate core values to a diverse, globalized audience that demands authenticity above all else. Within this specific context, the introduction of a deeply personal element into a macro-level global discussion serves as a powerful rhetorical tool, bridging the gap between the monumental challenges facing humanity and the intimate realities of family life. By carefully managing the flow of information, the presentation succeeded in generating a powerful wave of intrigue, drawing viewers into a broader conversation about collective responsibility while maintaining a sharp focus on the evolving personal journey of a family determined to define their legacy on their own precise terms. The visual imagery and the spoken words were designed to evoke a sense of calm reassurance and forward-looking optimism, establishing a stark contrast with the high-stakes drama that had characterized their previous media interactions. This deliberate shift in tone underscored a strategic pivot toward a more constructive, advocacy-driven public persona, one that seeks to inspire action rather than merely react to the ongoing cycle of media speculation and public debate. As the narrative of this global broadcast unfolded, it became increasingly clear that every element of the appearance was calibrated to project strength, independence, and a renewed commitment to global progress, setting the stage for a much larger discussion about the future of media influence and social responsibility. The global audience, accustomed to the fast-paced and often adversarial nature of contemporary news, found themselves presented with a vision of structured philanthropy that sought to transcend regional boundaries and touch upon universal human themes. This initial phase of the broadcast served as the perfect catalyst for a deeper investigation into the mechanisms of modern public relations, where the personal lives of public figures are seamlessly woven into the fabric of global campaigns, creating a powerful synergy that commands attention. By establishing this atmospheric baseline of expectation and intrigue, the stage was effectively set for a more comprehensive examination of the core messages that would soon be delivered, leaving the audience to contemplate the true scale of the impact that this high-profile reemergence would have on the global cultural conversation. The intricate relationship between public figures and the media platforms they utilize remains one of the most compelling dynamics of our time. And this particular event offered a masterclass in how to capture the collective imagination while redirection public focus toward issues of global significance. As the broadcast progressed, the initial layers of intrigue began to give way to a more structured dialogue, signaling that the true substance of the appearance was about to be unveiled, a substance that would challenge the audience to look beyond the surface level of celebrity and consider the broader implications of the message being conveyed. The anticipation that had built up around this major public reemergence finally found its resolution when the cameras focused on the distinct segments of the global broadcast, revealing the substantive heart of the message that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle chose to deliver to a fractured world. This appearance marked a crucial milestone, being the first time Meghan Markle had been seen on a television broadcast since the couple's explosive and deeply revealing interview with Oprah Winfrey earlier that spring. An interview that had fundamentally altered the landscape of public discourse surrounding the modern British monarchy. Stepping onto the platform of Global Citizens Vax Live, the concert to reunite the world, a massive pre-recorded special filmed at the state-of-the-art SoFi Arena in Los Angeles, the couple chose to use their immense cultural capital to address two deeply interconnected crises of the modern era, balancing intimate family updates with an urgent appeal for global equity and systemic truth. Meghan appeared in a beautifully composed video segment, radiating a sense of grounded optimism and warmth that stood in stark contrast to the heavy, defensive atmosphere of her previous media outings. And she immediately captured the global audience's attention by grounding her macro-level advocacy in the deeply personal reality of her expanding family. In her address, she shared the joyous news that she and her husband were thrilled to soon be welcoming a daughter into the world, describing it as a profound feeling of pure joy that they were fortunate to share with millions of other ordinary families across the globe who were also navigating the complex realities of bringing new life into a changing world. However, this personal milestone was not shared merely as a piece of celebrity trivia, but was instead seamlessly utilized as a powerful rhetorical bridge to pivot toward a broader, more impactful discussion about the systemic future of young women and girls on a global scale. Meghan emphasized that when she and Harry think of their unborn daughter, they are inevitably moved to think of all the young women and girls around the globe who must be urgently given the structural ability, the societal resources, and the unyielding institutional support necessary to lead humanity forward into the next century. She passionately argued that the future viability of global leadership depends entirely on the concrete decisions that world leaders make and the collective actions that ordinary citizens take in the present moment to properly set these young women up, and by extension set all of human society up, for a genuinely successful, equitable, and compassionate tomorrow. Meanwhile, Prince Harry took to the actual physical stage at the SoFi Arena, delivering an energetic and urgent speech before an audience of fully vaccinated frontline medical workers, where he sought to unpack the complex, psychological, and systemic reasons behind the global hesitation surrounding the implementation of medical countermeasures. Harry demonstrated a remarkable degree of empathy and nuanced understanding, explicitly stating that he completely understood why ordinary people across different communities might feel deeply confused, hesitant, or entirely unsure of what to think or believe when it came to the rapidly developed vaccines. He astutely pointed out that humanity was not merely experiencing a physical, biological viral pandemic, but was simultaneously fighting an equally destructive digital pandemic that was actively eroding the shared foundation of public trust and objective reality. In his view, the modern world has become so hyper-connected through digital infrastructure that human society now functions like a vast, singular, interconnected nervous system, meaning that every individual is deeply impacted by the flow of information, whether they are actively online or completely disconnected from the digital grid. Much like a physical biological virus, Harry observed, there are absolutely no borders, checkpoints, or national boundaries when it comes to the digital landscape, allowing ideas and narratives to jump across oceans and cultures at the speed of light. Therefore, when vaccine misinformation and deliberate disinformation are allowed to spread unchecked, heavily magnified by the profit-driven algorithms of social media platforms and further amplified by certain uncritical segments of traditional media, it ceases to be a minor internet subculture problem and instead exposes a profound, collective, and existential threat to the entirety of humanity. The sheer tension of his speech lay in this stark warning as he challenged the audience to recognize that information warfare and public health are now irrevocably bound together, meaning that the physical recovery of the global economy and human health cannot be achieved without first curing the informational sickness plaguing our digital networks. The contrast between Meghan's poised, visionary video address and Harry's urgent, high-energy stage presence created a powerful internal dynamic within the broadcast, showcasing a highly coordinated media strategy that sought to target both the emotional and intellectual sensibilities of a massive international audience. By shifting the conversation away from their personal grievances with traditional institutions and reframing their public personas around the pillars of global health equity, systemic media accountability, and the empowerment of future generations, the couple signaled a definitive transformation in their public mission. This segment of the report highlights the intense focus and strategic precision that defines their independent public lives in California, proving that their departure from formal traditional roles was not a retirement from the global stage, but rather a calculated transition into a more flexible, high-impact form of global advocacy that allows them to speak directly to global citizens without institutional filters. As the echoes of their speeches resonated across the digital broadcast networks, the true scale of their ambitions became unmistakably clear, setting the foundation for an analytical exploration of what this newly defined path means for the future of public influence, international philanthropy, and the evolving relationship between celebrity power and global governance. The profound societal implications of this carefully constructed reemergence extend far beyond the immediate media news cycle, serving as a defining blueprint for how the Duke and Duchess of Sussex intend to execute their long-term philanthropic vision. By embedding their personal narratives within global structural campaigns, the couple has effectively modeled a new paradigm of independent influence that completely detaches itself from the historic protocols of ancestral heritage while maintaining a massive share of the global cultural consciousness. This strategic pivot highlights why the event matters so significantly in the broader landscape of contemporary communication, as it demonstrates that the modern currency of public life is no longer solely derived from ancient institutional validation, but rather from the capacity to mobilize digital networks, shape media narratives, and align with universal human advocacy. To understand the trajectory of this transformation, one must examine the background of the participants themselves, whose journeys have been characterized by a continuous negotiation between public expectation and individual autonomy. Meghan Markle, a former American television actress with a deep background in international advocacy and grassroots community organizing long before her entry into the British royal structure, has consistently used her platform to champion the systemic empowerment of marginalized groups, with a particular focus on the educational, economic, and social advancement of young women and girls worldwide. Her experience within the complex machinery of transatlantic media has provided her with a unique perspective on the intersection of storytelling and social impact, allowing her to craft messaging that resonates on an emotional, human level while simultaneously driving macro-level public conversations. Similarly, Prince Harry's life journey has been uniquely defined by a lifelong exposure to the intense demands of global visibility, a reality that shaped his early dedication to humanitarian service, mental health advocacy, and the support of wounded veterans through international initiatives such as the Invictus Games. His deep-seated commitment to addressing systemic structural issues, including the invisible threats posed by digital misinformation and algorithmic manipulation on major internet platforms, stems from a profound personal understanding of how unchecked media narratives can impact individual psychological well-being, public trust, and the collective safety of human communities. The convergence of these two distinct backgrounds has resulted in a powerful, unified public relations entity that operates with a highly sophisticated understanding of modern media dynamics, positioning itself at the very forefront of global issue-driven philanthropy. This particular appearance at the Global Citizen Special was intrinsically linked to a series of broader, ongoing international initiatives spearheaded by the couple, including significant fundraising drives aimed at securing financial resources for vaccine distribution networks in lower-income nations, thereby translating their rhetorical appeals into tangible, measurable resources. The broader contextual background of this event also includes their sustained collaboration with global organizations and international coalitions designed to challenge systemic inequities, build safer digital communities, and promote mental resilience in an increasingly volatile world. By choosing to address these massive societal challenges through highly polished independent American media broadcasts, the couple has effectively redefined the parameters of what it means to be a modern global advocate, creating a flexible model that allows them to react swiftly to emerging humanitarian crises while maintaining control over their own narrative presentation. Ultimately, the story of this broadcast Reemergence is not merely about a singular television appearance or a brief update on a growing family, but is rather a compelling case study in the evolution of global fame, the changing nature of institutional influence, and the powerful role that strategic public relations play in shaping the collective future of human society. As the public continues to observe the unfolding chapters of this cross-continental journey, it becomes increasingly clear that the legacy being forged in real time is one that will be measured by its tangible impact on global equity, the structural health of our digital information ecosystems, and the enduring empowerment of future generations around the world.